Well, a very, very happy Friday morning to everyone, and welcome to the John Kentera Show on YouTube, Facebook, and X. Hope everyone has had a great week. Oh man, can't wait for tonight. Can't wait to tonight to 6:40. It's all over again. It starts all over again tonight. Dodgers, Padres, three-game series. Padres trailed the Dodgers by a game a week ago when the Padres went up to Dodger Stadium. They led the Dodgers by a game, and we know it did not go well for our boys up there. Got swept three straight last weekend by the boys in blue. And we'll see what happens. Padres, after losing on Monday night to the Giants, they came back 1-3 straight. The Dodgers, man, I'll tell you what, Dodgers, they had a little bit of a struggle, to say the least, in Colorado. They ended up getting out of there 2-2. Rockies gave them some very, very tough ball games up there, and a very exhausting season, or a very exhausting series for Dave Roberts and the Dodgers. And Otani on Wednesday night took that shot off a line drive into his right thigh. He was scheduled to be off yesterday, and I don't know. I guess he came to the ballpark. Dave Roberts told him to sleep in, and Otani loves to sleep. He keeps track of how many hours he sleeps each night. Everything he does is very, very calculated, but I expect him to be leading off for the Dodgers tonight at 6:40. A lot to get done today. A little bit later on, about 9:30, we're going to have a high school football preview with John Maffey from the Union Tribune. It's a very exciting night in San Diego. You got the Dodgers, Padres, and you got high school football games kicking off all over the county tonight. And really, for the first weekend in high school football, there's some really, really good week one matchups. So we'll get into that. We're going to talk about the top quarterbacks in San Diego. A great article in the Union Tribune this morning. We're very blessed to have some really, really talented football players again this year. And I'm very much excited about the high school football season. But, man, this could be Custer's last stand this weekend for the Pod. They've got to show up, and they've got to show up in a big way against the Dodgers. And we're going to get into some of the numbers so far through the first 10 games between the Dodgers and Padres. Of course, we know the Padres are only 2-8 against the Dodgers this year. But I want to recap the series against the Giants. Padres finished the year 10-3 against the Giants. And let's be honest, the Giants are not very good. They're not very good. They've fallen into fourth place. They're behind Arizona. And they're not a very good baseball team. They can't hit very well. They're pitching. Once you get past Robbie Ray and Logan Webb, it's hit and miss. Their bullpen, they traded away three bullpen guys, and they're just trying to figure it out up there. But Monday night, a disappointing effort by the Pod. They get beat 4-3 after losing three games. You thought they'd come back and really rally and jump on the Giants. Well, it didn't happen. And it didn't happen right from the get-go because the Giants came out swinging. Helio Ramos, a leadoff homer. Rafael Devers followed with a homer. And then a few batters later, Wilmer Flores, a two-run homer. Before the Padres ever came to the plate the other night on Monday night, they were down 4-0. To give them credit, they rallied back. And quite frankly, I thought Nestor Cortez, after giving up three homers in the first inning, it's safe to say, that put him behind the eight ball, but he actually pitched pretty well. And he's going to pitch tomorrow night against Tyler Glasnow. But Cortez, 5 2/3, 7 hits, 4 runs, all in the first inning, 4 walks, 5 strikeouts, and gave up 3 home runs. It was kind of similar to Yu Darvish on Sunday at Dodger Stadium when he gave up the 3-run homer to Freddie Freeman and a solo homer to Andy Pages, and then threw 3 shutout innings. So the Padres got to find a way to slow down ball clubs in the first inning. Far too many times now they're giving up a run or two in the first inning. But Padres came back the next night and won the ball game 5-1. They were only 2 for 14 with runners in scoring position, but Nick Pivetta continuing his stellar season. I mean, pitching great. I mean, everything that you look at with Nick Pivetta right now is a career high. He's 13-4 right now. ERA goes down to 2.81. Gave up a homer to Jung-Hoo Lee right there in the get-go. But you know what? After that, he didn't give up squat. He ended up going 6 innings, 3 hits, 1 run, 2 walks, 10 strikeouts. doing a heck of a job. Offensively, the Padres out hit the Giants on Tuesday night 9-4, but again, 2 for 14 with runners in scoring position. That's not going to get it done against good ball clubs. Wednesday night, Padres came out and beat the Giants 8-1. They out hit them 10-4. They were 3 for 7 that night with runners in scoring position. But where this was big was J.P. Sears making his second start as a Padre. They brought him back from AAA. He had that one rough start right after the deal with Oakland over in Arizona where he couldn't locate his fastball. Everything was up in the zone. He came back the other night and got his opportunity, and I saw a much more concise, much more consistent left-hander. He went 6 innings, gave up 4 hits, 1 run. It was a homer to my old third base buddy from down there at East Lake High School, Casey Schmidt, and had 1 walk, 2 strikeouts. But he located his fastball much better. Really, it was a real shot in the arm for the Padres on Wednesday night to get that kind of performance from J.P. Sears. Really good performance. Offensively that night, Ryan O'Hearn, 2 for 3, a walk, 16th homer, 2 RBIs. Gavin Sheets, a 2 for 4 night, a solo homer. Had a solo homer in the second inning, a 3-run homer in the third inning. And, I mentioned that you got to get Sheets and O'Hearn in the lineup, however way you can do it, especially with Jackson Merrill being out. And as far as Jackson Merrill's concerned, he's got a left ankle sprain and a bone bruise. And a bone bruise takes a while. And depending on the severity of the ankle, that could take a while. And the Padres right now have not put him on the IL. And I think there's 2 reasons for that. Very simple reason. Number one, they're hoping he could play this weekend. I tend to doubt that. But I think before tonight, they're going to have to make a decision whether to ride with him or put him on the IL. And I think the reason why they haven't put him on the IL, aside from hoping he could maybe find his way back into the lineup this weekend, and they knew they could get by the Giants a man down. You can't hamstring your manager in this series. You got to have another body on the bench. The question is, what body will that be? The Padres have gotten really no help at all this year from AAA. I mean, we know about Luis Camposano's struggles. We also know he's been hotter than Baker's apron over there playing in El Paso. He's been hitting home runs and doing a lot of great things. But aside from Bryce Johnson, who, by the way, had a nice double yesterday, not getting a lot of playing time, but had a nice double yesterday. He really has done a nice job in his role. He's a 5th outfielder, and that's the way they're using him, and he's done a really, really nice job. But I think the Padres are going to have to make a move, even if it's to bring Camposano up to be, a pinch hitter. At least give you a right-handed presence, because I don't think Merrill is going to be ready to roll. And he's missed time. I mean, he's been out since last weekend. And they took him out. He struck out twice on Sunday. They took him out, and we haven't seen him since. Laureano's doing fine. And, yesterday, and I'll get to yesterday in a minute, I mean, Tatis, that's 2 times in a row the last week Tatis has gone after a ball and then at the last minute let the center fielder. And yesterday Tatis called it. He even admitted that he called it, and then he just stopped, and it went for a triple. And similar last week, I don't know exactly what the conversation was between Merrill and Tatis on that drop fly ball that cost him 2 runs. But Tatis could have made that catch with a backhand, running towards center field. But then he got mixed up with Merrill, and Merrill ended up dropping the ball and getting charged for an error. I mean, these guys have played too much baseball for that to happen. But nonetheless, they won on Wednesday night 8-1. They jumped on him and jumped on him good. And O'Hearn and Sheets had big ball games like we've been talking about. They're doing a great job. Fernando had a couple of hits that night. His 24th double. And then yesterday, man, I'll tell you, the Giants are so bad. They're so bad. Padres, they dropped the ball in the outfield that should have been caught. And then another ball hit and skidded by Fernando. Cronenworth came in on a slow roller. It wasn't an easy play, but I think what he was trying to do was he was going to try to scoop it with one hand and then throw it from his glove. That ended up backfiring on him. Got charged with an error. Dylan C's final numbers were not good, but he was okay yesterday. Not one of his better performances, but his numbers uh, were not that great. But he actually pitched pretty well yesterday. Gave up a couple of homers deep into the start, but 5 innings, 6 hits, 4 runs, 4 of them earned, 2 walks, 7 strikeouts, and the 2 home runs to Devers and to Willie Adames. He picks up his 6th win of the year. His record now 6-11. ERA at 4.71. Bullpen yesterday. Good job. Estrada an inning and a third. Morahone an inning. Mason Miller 2/3. Thing that I liked about Mason Miller, he threw 5 pitches, had 1 strikeout, but you didn't have to use them a whole lot. Robert Suarez came in yesterday, 1 inning, couple of punch outs, get those guys a little bit of work. And, one of the things I wanted to bring up today, yesterday I watched Clayton Kershaw pitch, and then I would turn back and watch Justin Verlander pitch. And Kershaw is 5 years younger than Verlander, and I give Verlander a lot of credit. He's still okay, but his numbers are terrible. And they were terrible last year when they were at Houston. And here's a guy that's going to be a Hall of Famer. Probably, I would think, a first ballot Hall of Famer like Kershaw. But man, is he kind of tainting his record a little bit? Tainting his performance? He had a bad year last year with Houston. And this year, after the loss yesterday, he's 1-10 in a 4.64. I mean, I got to believe. I know he's making a lot of money, and teams are dumb enough to pay these old pitchers a ton of money. But man, if you're Justin Verlander, aren't you going to call it a career at the end of the year? Is he going to try to come back again next year? Will there be a sucker out there that'll give him a ton of money next year? This guy's had a hell of a career. But man, sometime it's time to go home to the family. And got 2 kids, got a beautiful wife, and Kate Upton. And, Justin Verlander's a talented guy. I could see him doing some broadcasting. I mean, he's an articulate guy. But, man, I got to be honest with you. He threw a couple of good breaking balls yesterday. But, you can say, well, his numbers, haven't been bad in a few starts. Well, yesterday they were awful. 4 1/3, 7 hits, 7 earned runs, a walk, and 4 strikeouts. It's kind of sad to watch a guy that's been that good continue to go out there and pitch and kind of screw up his career numbers at this point in time. But yesterday, Padres, Fernando had a couple of hits yesterday. Good to see. Hitting 268 on the year. But he's having a good month of August, no question about that. Arise had a couple of hits yesterday. Had a nice sack bunt. Manny, yesterday 2 for 4. That RBI bloop single in the 4th, a 2-run double in the 5th. Stole his 12th base, hitting 294. Bogart's a 1 for 3 day, a couple of RBIs yesterday. I mentioned Bryce Johnson coming in late for Gavin Sheets, his 4th double of the year. Laureano, another 2-hit game, scored a run, drove in a run. And Freddie Fermin, boy, doing a great job behind the plate and swinging the bat. 1 for 4 yesterday in a run scored. So all in all, the Padres sit right now at 72-56. Okay. I'm not going to keep you folks waiting today. Again, we're going to be talking with John Maffey coming up right about 9:30 this morning. But right now, let's get out to some coach's crew. I would imagine you got to be fired up, man. And again, the Padres, they don't need to sweep the Dodgers. Just win the series. Just win the series, and then the Padres will head to Seattle. That won't be easy, especially up in that ballpark. And then they go and take on the Minnesota Twins that are not a great baseball team. But let's get out to Coach's crew right now. If you got questions, please drop them in. And again, I would ask you very much, please subscribe, please like, and please turn on your notifications. Brian Torres, Boltman. Good morning, Coach. I'm not optimistic about this weekend's Padre-Dodger series. I feel we may get 1 game out of 3 and look back at not taking care of business and losing the division by a game. Well, think about it. If the Padres would have just played 500 against the Dodgers, they'd be leading the division right now. But Dodgers just outplayed them. A little bit later on, Boltman, I'm going to throw out some numbers. And I know this on the year. The Dodgers have outscored the Padres 49-43. But what's amazing to me is the big guys really on both ball clubs have not put up any kind of numbers. I mean, Machado's been awful. Tatis has been awful. Ohtani hasn't been good. Mookie Betts has been beyond awful. against the Padres. Freddie Freeman's been okay. Will Smith's killed him, and Andy Pages has killed him. Arise has had a good year so far against the Dodgers, but 1-3, and you're 2 games out. So you need to get 2 out of 3. You get 2 out of 3, you're hanging in there, and who knows what can happen down the stretch. I will tell you this: the Dodgers are going to activate, I believe, Tanner Scott tonight. You can say, "Oh well, big deal. He hadn't been very good." No, he hadn't been very good. He's had a rough year, first year in blue. But another legitimate arm. I mean, if he gets into a rhythm, man, he can be tougher than hell. We found that out last year when he was pitching for the Padres and doing a great job. And then tomorrow night, they're probably more than likely going to activate another former Padre, a guy that was an all-star for us a few years back, Kirby Yates, another guy they signed and has not had a good year. But right now, until those guys are activated, there is 7 guys the Dodgers are waiting to get back. Tanner Scott, Kirby Yates, Brock Stewart, and there's another reliever. I'm trying to think who it is. It's kind of slipped my mind right now. But they've got another guy. Brusdar Gratterall is going to be out the remainder of the year. But there's another guy. Michael Kopech. Michael Kopech, and he throws 100 miles an hour. And he really gave them a big boost in the playoffs last year when he came over from the White Sox. And then they're waiting for Tommy Edman, Max Muncy, and Kike Hernandez. I saw Kike Hernandez was taking ground balls yesterday at Dodger Stadium, so he might be getting close. But they've got a whole cavalry coming. And the Padres, luckily, the Padres for the most part have been stayed pretty healthy. I mean, Jackson Merrill's had a tough year from the standpoint of hamstring, concussion, now an ankle. So hopefully you're going to get him back at some point. But the Padres got to figure out their rotation. But we'll see what happens. Tonight's a big night. If the Dodgers come in here and Blake Snell shuts the Padres down, they're going to be 2 games back, and they're going to be reeling a little bit. I mean, that they need to get tonight's game. They need to get tonight's game, and then it'll be a war the remainder of the weekend. I mean, you tie it up tonight, and then we'll see what happens the next 2 days. Padres can't afford to drop this game tonight to Blake Snell and the Dodgers. Brian Torres, Boltman, thank you very much. Appreciate that. Okay, Casey King. Good morning, Coach. And what are your thoughts about the possible MLB division realignment rumors? Looking forward to series this weekend, and I'll be at Petco Park tomorrow cheering on my Dodgers. I'm not going to really change for the Padres a whole lot. I've seen different ones. I've seen different formats, and until I see the actual one, the Padres and Dodgers are going to be in the division. And I would imagine San Francisco will be in the division. And, maybe Arizona. What I'm anxious to see is when you bring in 2 new ball clubs. They're talking about realignment, and we'll see how that goes. And the other thing, I know a lot of people, the season's too long, the season's too long. I like 162. I love baseball. Whenever the final out and the World Series is over, I count down the days to pitchers and catchers. So that's kind of where I'm at right now. The other problem you got, where are all these players going to come from? Because right now, Major League Baseball and what they've done to the minor leagues, they're retarding the progress of a lot of players. And they're retarding the progress of not even giving a lot of guys an opportunity. Guys are having to go to independent ball because they wiped out those 42 minor league teams a few years ago, which made absolutely no sense. It makes no sense to me right now. You got to get guys playing baseball. The only way you get better is by playing. And they're promoting guys that don't deserve to get promoted right now because it's what they signed them in their bonus or high draft babies. Hey, you know what? This whole game, the whole history of this game has been on what have you done for us? How have you earned your opportunity? And they're promoting guys right now that aren't ready to play in the big leagues. And now you're going to add 2 teams. What's that going to do for pitching? I mean, that's going to water things down. But again, baseball is going to do what baseball does. And, Rob Manfred, for me, he can't retire soon enough. I'm just not a Manfred guy. And when I talk to real baseball people, I think most of them would agree with me on that. I really do. All right, we'll see what happens, Casey. Your Dodgers are playing pretty good baseball, and Dave Roberts, I think, has done a hell of a job considering he's been running a tryout camp most of the year, moving guys in and out. He got Buddy Kennedy. Buddy Kennedy's got like 2 hits in the Dodger uniform. It's amazing what they've done up there, considering all the injuries, and they're still in first place as of right now. But Casey, thank you very much appreciate that. All right, Steve Tejas. Hi, Coach. Padres need to play with playoff intensity. The last series with the Dodgers was lackadaisical. Hopefully, the crowd will get them fired up. You know what? The crowd, Steve, shouldn't have to get these guys fired up. If they're not good enough professionals to come out, be ready to roll, I think everybody in San Diego, bank tellers, gasoline attendants, uh, street workers, everybody's got an extra bounce in their step today because the Dodgers are in town. This is big time baseball. When the Dodgers show up, the Yankees show up, Boston shows up, Philadelphia shows up. Everybody's got a little bit of a better bounce in their step. But I guarantee you, when the Dodgers come to town, it is a different intensity level. And I also think the Padre big guys, Machado and Tatis, have got to really play this weekend. They can't flop around like they did last weekend up there at Dodger Stadium. And you bring up the point about lackadaisical. Last Friday night, I don't care what Mike Schultz says. Okay, he's going to always cover for his guys. But his guys were not ready to play that game last Friday night. I thought they came back on Saturday and Sunday. They played not very well, but they were into it. But last Friday night, they didn't look like they were ready to play. After coming from San Francisco, they just did not look like they were ready to go 100%. And the one thing about the Dodgers, guys like Freeman, it was like yesterday. Freddie Freeman, Mookie Betts leads off because Ohtani was getting the day off. Betts walks, first pitch, Freeman sees, hits it over the wall because the Dodgers lost the night before. There was a little bit of a sense of urgency with the Dodgers, and they came out and won a ball game yesterday 9-5. But Freeman got him off to a big start right away, hitting that 2-run homer in the first. Freddie Freeman just an amazing player. I mean, Mookie Betts is really starting to play better. Will Smith has had an incredible year. They're the Dodgers, man. Those guys can play. And Otani's been awful against the Padres this year, by the way. He hadn't done well at all. We'll share those numbers a little bit later on. But Steve, they got to be fired up. They got to be ready to go, and they've got to match the intensity of the fan base because the fan base is going to be fired up, ready to roll. The players have got to show that they're fired up and ready to go as well. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Let's get to one more question, and then we're going to get to John Maffey because he got a very busy day and a very busy weekend, I might add. This guy, he works morning, noon, and night. Uli, who's pitching for you guys in the playoffs? Good question. Right now, Pavetta get game one. We'll see if Michael King is able to come back. Now, hey, Michael King threw a bullpen, going to throw a simulated game on Sunday, not go on a rehab assignment. And then he's eligible to come off on Tuesday, but more than likely he'll come off next Friday. And very well, if everything goes well, pitch against the Minnesota Twins next Friday. So that's kind of where it's at right now. But I'd have to say Nick Pivetta, Michael King if he comes back, and then it'd be kind of between Dylan Cease and Yu Darvish. Neither one of them have exactly lit it up this year. But I think Dylan Cease, quite frankly, is probably to this point, he's been a little more battle tested at this stage of the game. And remember, you get to the playoffs, Padre, they only need their guys to go 3 or 4 innings. I think going 4 innings would be great. And you can turn it over to that dynamic bullpen. Yuli, thank you very much. And we're going to get some more questions a little bit later on, but I want to get to this gentleman. I'm really excited. I was talking to him on the phone the other day, and I'm always excited for high school football. But this year, for some reason, and I don't know how good every team is going to do as far as when they get in the playoffs and get to the state, but for some reason, I feel like this could be a really special year in high school football. We got some really talented players, not just at the quarterback spot, but there's other spots on the field. Wide receiver, over on the defensive side. And I think there's going to be some guys that are going to be noticed this year that maybe are a little under the radar going into the year. But we're going to talk about the top 10. We're going to talk about the top quarterbacks. Man, I'll tell you what, whether you're a big high school football fan, maybe a college football fan, there's some guys in the county this year that you may want to check their schedule out. You may want to go out and watch these guys play because they got a chance to do something really dynamic, I think, when they get to college. And I bring on John Maffey from the Union Tribune right now. And John, I got to ask you, you're an old veteran at this. How many years have you been coach or been covering high school football? What will this be this year?
This is season 54.
54. Wow. Pretty amazing how far this game has come at the high school level, isn't it?
Oh my gosh! We're in single face mask when I was.
Oh, I think we're having some problems with John. Let's see. Jonathan, why don't you try to reboot John and see if we can get a little bit better connection? We're having a hard time with him a little bit. I want to make sure that we can get all this real good. So why don't you work on that and then just let me know when John's ready to go. We can get some more questions as well. I'm really excited about this here. I'm always excited about Padre Dodgers. There's no question about that. And we'll see tonight, Blake Snell going against Yu Darvish, and two former teammates going head to head. We'll see how it goes. Okay, let's try John again here. I think we can get him rolling here and get him up and running. All right, John, we got you back there. And where are you going tonight? What's your first game tonight?
I'm going to Mount Miguel at San Marcos.
Oh, that's going to be a great one. You got a couple of really good ball clubs coming off pretty good years last year.
I'm sorry, what was that?
I said a couple of teams that had pretty good years last year.
Oh, yes. Yeah, absolutely. San Marcos, both 10-win seasons. Mount Miguel has, multiple college commits. San Marcos, not many college have and quarterback who threw 44 touchdowns last year.
John, let's start with the top 10. I want to kind of roll through this and try to mention as many schools as we can. In the preseason Union Tribune poll, you got Lincoln as number one. Lincoln going to be as strong this year as they were a year ago?
I think so. It kind of depends. They got a late transfer quarterback who won back-to-back state championships in Arizona. He's there. It's the old model that you're the champ until somebody knocks you off, and so they're number one in the season.
Okay, how about Cathedral Catholic? They were 9-3 a year ago. Maybe a little bit of a disappointing year, even though they got to the Open Division final.
A little bit, I think, and they're in a little bit of a transition, but they are uber talented. I mean, they have players everywhere, and they're quarterback to Cal. And I think they are, because of the quarterback, they are going to they're kind of working out of getting away from the wing T and a little bit more spread formations. And I think they're going to really take advantage of his talents this year.
And we'll talk about him a little bit later on in the program. You guys had a great article today on the top quarterbacks, and there are a lot of them. And I'm sure you couldn't get them all in the paper today, but we'll talk about that young man at Cathedral Catholic a little bit later on in the program. Mission Hill's 8-3, and Chris Hauser, the only head football coach in Mission Hill's history, still going strong, isn't he? I think John's having
Jennifer, so you're kind of cutting in and out.
Okay, well, I'll tell you what, John, we're going to get you down and we'll try it again. Jonathan, why don't you just reboot him a little bit and we'll get back to John in a minute. Normally when we have John, and we never have problems, but today a little problem. The Gremlins, a lot of people are on the internet right now wondering what's going on with Padre baseball and all that good stuff, but we'll get back to John here momentarily once Jonathan can get him up and running. I'm going to give you the pitching matchups right now while we're waiting. Some great matchups. And as I mentioned, tonight you got Blake Snell 3-1 and a 1.80 going against right-hander Yu Darvish 2-3 and a 5.97. Snell last Saturday night at Dodger Stadium picked up the win 6-0. Went 6 innings, 5 hits, 2 walks, 3 strikeouts. Was not overpowering. This will be his 6th start of the season. Darvish last pitch last Sunday at Dodger Stadium. He got ambushed in that first inning with 4 runs. Freddie Freeman's 3-run homer. Andy Pye has a solo homer. And after that, 3 shutout innings. Dodgers came back after the Padres tied it at 4. Mookie Betts hit that home run leading off the 8th inning, and the Dodgers hung on for a 5-4 victory. Saturday night is going to be right-hander Tyler Glasnow, 1-1 and a 3.12, going against left-hander Nestor Cortes, 1-2 and a 5.87. Glasnow last Sunday versus the Padres went 5 frames, gave up 6 hits, 2 earned runs, a walk, had 8 strikeouts, gave up a home run in that ball game. And Cortes, on the other hand, pitched Monday night against San Francisco, took the loss 4-3. All 4 runs were scored in the first inning. And then really the best matchup of the entire weekend. 2 guys having good years. You've got right-hander Yoshinobu Yamamoto, 10-8 and a 2.90, going against Padre right-hander Nick Pivetta, 13-4 and a 2.81. And I was looking at Yamamoto's numbers, and I was looking at Pivetta's numbers. Yamamoto has pitched 133 and 2/3 innings this year. He's given up only 98 hits. He's got 151 strikeouts and a whip of 1.08. Pretty impressive. But then you take a look at Nick Pivetta. Nick Pivetta has thrown 147 and a third innings to this point, 101 hits. He's got 154 strikeouts and a whip of under 1 at 0.94. I mean, that's pretty amazing. That's pretty amazing. And so we'll keep you up to date. And a little bit later on in the program, we're going to share some numbers with you regarding the Padres and the Dodgers. And again, Dodgers have had their way, 8-2 against the Padres this year. Okay, we're going to reconnect. See if we can get this thing right this time. Big John Maffey from the Union Tribune back with us right now. All right, John, I think we're ready to roll now this time. I hope so. John, are you there?
I'm here.
Okay, we'll give it one more shot. We were talking about, before we got rudely interrupted by the Gremlins, we were talking about Mission Hills High School. You got them ranked 3rd in the preseason.
Yes, they are. They are. They lost their big running back to graduation, but they have a quarterback going to Penn State. They have a really talented defense, very well coached. I think they can give the big boys a run for their money.
All right, Granite Hills. Kellen Cobb's done a heck of a job out there. You've got them ranked at number 4 right now in the county. Yet in the morning paper, I think you picked Oceanside at home tonight to beat Granite Hills. Oh, wow, we're losing, John. Well, you know what? We're
Yeah,
going
a
to let
little
John
bit of
go ahead.
a conundrum there. Yeah.
Can you still hear me? Okay, Jonathan, why don't you
Yes,
take
I can
John
hear
off? We'll just have to do that again next week because we're breaking up. So go ahead and take him off, and we'll work on doing that next week. I'm going to take you through the top 10, and next week we'll get John on. We'll have a good connection, and we will go through those quarterbacks. I can tell you that the young man he was mentioning from Mission Hills, Troy Hune, who's committed, he's been committed to Penn State, it seems like for 2 years now. Really, really talented guy. And I want to go through because we got Cash Herrera, who is a great quarterback in San Diego. You got a bunch of guys that are really playing well at quarterback. But Mission Hill, so you got Lincoln at number 1 coming out, Cathedral Catholic at number 2, Mission Hills at number 3, Granite Hills at number 4, La Costa Canyon number 5, number 6 is Carlsbad, number 7 is San Marcos, number 8 is Mount Miguel, 9 is Oceanside, and number 10 is Helix. And then on the outside, looking into the top 10 right now, Poway, Rancho Bernardo, El Camino, Mater Dei Catholic, Del Norte, Torrey Pines, Bishop, Santa Fe Christian, St. Augustine, and Imperial. So there you have it there. Okay. So we'll try to get John on next week again and go from there. So John, I appreciate it just wasn't working today, but we'll work on that again for next week. So thank you very much. And let's get back to a little Padre talk. I want to get to more questions. Jonathan, let's get to Coach's Crew again. Let's get a few more questions. I'm sure there's a few more up there that we can get to. And then I want to share some numbers with you. Brian Torres, I don't like the lack of power with Tatis. Where's our leadoff homer to set the tone? Well, he's hit 4 homers since May 28th. Now, he is having a good month of August, average-wise, and, hitting a few doubles here and there, but not driving the ball out of the ballpark. And, while you bring that up, I might as well get to the numbers here. I wrote some numbers up this morning before the program, and kind of eye-opening, quite frankly. Tatis so far this year against the Dodgers is hitting a robust 212, but he has a 409 on base percentage, but only a 682 OPS. Hitting 212, but not doing damage. You got to do damage. We're paying him to do damage here in San Diego. So I agree with you. Fernando's not had a good year. For me, I don't care. I know he's Fernando. He hadn't had a good year. You got to play better. He's just another guy in the outfield. Now, he'd made some great plays in the outfield, but he's also had some miscommunication recently that doesn't help. I mean, he makes the highlight plays. There's no doubt about that. I mean, he made another one yesterday, going up against the wall. I think it was yesterday. Like Spider-Man. But you got to play better. You got to play better. He's been a disappointment to me. Brian, thank you very much. What else we got here? What else we got? Okay, Dodgers have reinforcements coming back. You're damn right they do. They got 7 guys waiting to get back here. And they've been moving guys up and down from AAA. I mean, all year long, they've been moving guys in and out of AAA on that pitching staff. I mean, I don't know how Dave Roberts has kept his team afloat. I mean, seriously, I know they got the big guys, and Mookie Betts is still having the worst year of his career, even though the last 3-4 weeks he started to really show some life. But they just keep doing it. If we're going to beat the Dodgers, it's this year. Because we got all our guys, except Jackson Merrill for, a little bit. Well, we lost him for about a month with that hamstring. But the Dodgers, I mean, the Dodgers have had more guys on the IL day-wise this year than any team in baseball. And we're still a game back of them. And you know what's amazing? I was thinking about this yesterday. We're excited about the Padres, and we should be. Because they're right there. If I'd have told you, at the beginning of the year, in the middle of August, we were going to be 1 game behind the Dodgers, you'd have said, no, there's no way. With all what they did during the offseason, but they're all banged up. I mean, Muncy's been out. Muncy missed over a month with that knee injury. Now he's out again. Mookie Betts didn't even go on the first road trip because he got really, really sick. I mean, they've had all kinds of problems this year. And mostly with their pitching staff. And we're still a game back. But we're excited in San Diego, and the Dodger fans and the Dodger organization, they're ticked. They're ticked that they don't have this division wrapped up already. It's amazing how 2 different fan bases look at the season differently. Dodgers are in first place, and they're irritated. Padres are in second place, and we're excited. Just different animal, man. But the Dodgers, man, they got the cavalry coming. There's no doubt about it. And like I mentioned, I expect, from what I hear talking to people, Tanner Scott coming off the IL tonight, and Kirby Yates more than likely coming off tomorrow night. But Viva Padres, thank you very much. Appreciate that. Okay, what else we got? Gil Baez. Hi, Coach. I also like 162 games, but also like no time clock, no ghost runner, no DH. You know what? I'm fine with the DH. I'm fine with the time clock. You know why? Because pitchers were out there taking forever and a day to throw. People were getting bored. And a lot of people that go to baseball game, younger people, they're trying to attract younger people. Their attention span is about 2 minutes. So you gotta get that ball and go. And you know what? It's much better baseball. It really is. I mean, 2 hours and 20 minutes, 2:30 rather than 3:15, 3:40. I mean, you can actually take a kid to a weeknight game at 6:40, and you can be home by 9:20, 9:30. Uh, before, I mean, there were a lot of times without the pitch clock. Like I'll use Trevor Hoffman as an example when Trevor was playing. I mean, those games would go well past 10 o'clock. Again, they were starting at 7:10. And those games were going 3+ hours. I mean, the kids were already home in bed before Trevor Hoffman came through that bullpen gate in the outfield. And so a lot of kids never saw Trevor Hoffman pitch unless they went to a weekend game and mom and dad let them stay up late. It's a much better brand of baseball. Get the ball, let's go. Rather than walk around the mound, pick up the rosin bag 38 different times. The pitch com, I'm not a big fan of the pitch com because almost every game I watch, there's a problem. And they got to call out the equipment guy to bring a new battery or whatever the hell they bring out. But every game it's been like that. I mean, it's either the catcher or the pitcher or the relief pitcher. It's a disaster. I hate the ghost runner. Nobody can ever convince me the ghost runner is a good thing for baseball. I think it sucks. And again, I'm not a big fan, and I'll say it over and over and over. I'm not a fan of the commissioner. I don't like the commissioner. I think he stinks, and he can't get out of here. He's done more negative things for baseball than he has positive things. The other thing on the 162 games, you think owners want to give up games? They don't want to give up games because they've signed these guys to long-term contracts, and whether those guys play 162 games or 154 games, they're going to have to be paid. And that's going to take away from a few gates. And owners don't want to do that. I like 162. Once upon a time, they used to play, 156, then they went to 162. I'm fine with 162. I love baseball. I want to see them play. That's me. But Gil, I like the time clock. I like the DH. DH has gone well. You got these high-priced pitchers. You don't want them to get their fingers jammed on a bunt. You got to be nice. Got to be nice nowadays. It's a different game than we grew up with. Pitcher come up trying to bunt, man, you knock him in the dirt. That's what you did in the old days. But we'll see where it goes. Brian Torres, I'm looking forward to ABS. ABS is best for everyone. It will hold everyone accountable, allow for adjustments if shown on the Jumbotron. Better calls overall will result. You got a couple of challenges. If you blow the challenge, you lose them. And you know what? I think from what I've seen, it's gone really well because it's been very, very speedy. So we'll see how that goes. It's coming in next year from what we hear. And just get ready for a lot of this. Brian, thank you very much. I appreciate that. All right. What else we got? Got any more there? Okay, I want to get to these numbers. And you're going to find these numbers very, very interesting. By the way, I'm not putting up standings today. We know the standings. We know the Padres are in the wild card. They're going to be fine. But we know where they're in the division. They're one game back. We'll do the standings on Monday. Okay, Padres 2-8 against LA. Padres this year against the Dodgers have hit 243, a 321 on base percentage, and a 704 OPS. Now, I'm going to give you the guys that are doing a pretty good job, and I'm going to give you the guys that need to pick it up. Luis Ariz. This guy takes a lot of heat for whatever reason. He's hitting 357 against the Dodgers this year with a 902 OPS. Okay, for a guy that has played in all the games this year, he's leading the ball club against the Dodgers. Bogart's hitting 268 with a 717 OPS. Machado got to pick it up. 1 for 12 last weekend with 4 strikeouts. He's only hit Was a swinging bunt up the third baseline that Alex Freeland came in, the young infielder for the Dodgers, kind of bobbled it, and it was a base hit. But that was Manny's big hit, 1 for 12. So far, Manny's hitting 220 against the Dodgers this year. Got to play better. It's that simple. 584 OPS. And I got to say this. I don't like to get on any ball player, but there are things that when you're a star player, you have to do. You don't want to do them, but you need to do them. And last weekend, I'm a little disappointed in Manny. I was told that after that game on Sunday, and he had a miserable game, he struck out to end the game, went 0 for 5. Terrible weekend. But he is supposed the leader of this ball club. That's what they tell us. But he didn't meet with the media. He apparently told the media on his way out, said, "Hey, I'm out today, boys. I'll talk to you tomorrow." Well, you know what? I watch a lot of Dodger baseball, and I watch a lot of Angel baseball too, but, we know the Angels aren't that great. But I watched Dodgers run this like really cool post-game show. They got Jerry Harrison, they got Adrian Gonzalez some nights, and they got James Loney and Nomar Garcia-Parra and John Hartung's good broadcast. They do a nice job. And they run this like hour-long post-game. The Padre post-game at home especially is not very good. On the road, it's better than it is at home because they got Scanlon and Grant or Pomerantz and Grant working, and it seems like they do a better job on the road than they do at home, quite frankly. But anyways, Dodgers run this long post game. Padres is about 20 minutes, Dodgers about 60 minutes. And they go through everything, and they interview Freddie Freeman after every game, and Mookie Betts and Ohtani and his interpreter, and who the pitcher was that night, whether it was Kershaw or when Dustin May was with the ball club. And they talk to all these guys. Really cool. Kind of like if you're a Lakers fan like I am. They run kind of a Lakers type post game show. And no matter if Mookie Betts goes 0 for 4, 0 for 5, or Ohtani has a bad night, they talk to these guys. And the other day on Sunday, and I know they wanted to get on the bus, they wanted to get back in, but you know what? Manny's supposed to be the leader of this team. He got to talk to the media. He blew the media off, go, "Man, I'm out today, boys. I'll talk to you tomorrow." Well, tomorrow's too late. Tomorrow's old day news. They wanted to hear from a child. What happened to you guys this weekend? And it's not easy. But I always go back to whether it was Tony Gwynn or Caminetti or especially Trevor Hoffman. I always think of Trevor after losing game 163 in Colorado. And Jake Peavy started that game, and he didn't pitch very well. But Trevor Hoffman was the guy that came in and gave it up, and he ended up having to face the music. And he was right there at his cubicle, and he answered the first question all the way to the last question. And then he turned around and, did what he needed to do to get ready to fly back to San Diego. That's an obligation. If you're a big money guy, that's your obligation. If you're anointing the leader of the ball club, that showed me nothing. That bothers me a little bit. That's a little bit too much of a front-running attitude. I don't like that. Maybe you do, but I'm not going to excuse that. That's not the first time, I don't think. But anyways, Padres hitting 243 against the Dodgers this year, 321 on-base percentage, 704 OPS. Machado, I mentioned, hitting 220. Tatis hitting 212, 682 OPS. Cronenworth's hitting 219. Laureano last weekend hit a couple of dingers, hit 364 for the weekend. On the year, the Padres have 22 doubles against the Dodgers in 10 games. 10 games. That's pretty good. Couple of triples, or 3 triples, 6 homers, and 43 runs scored. Now, the Dodgers, on the other hand, have hit 237, a 321 on base percentage, same exact on base percentage as the Padres, and a 715 OPS, 11 points higher. Ohtani, not been good against the Padres. 211 average, 649 OPS. Freeman, 263, got a homer, 4 RBIs, and 684 OPS. How about Mookie Betts? How about 4 for 36 grab you? 111 average and a 427 OPS. One of those hits won the ball game last Sunday. Andy Pages and Will Smith are the guys that have done the damage. Andy Pye is hitting 324. He got 3 homers, 6 RBIs, and a 1,061 OPS against Padre pitching this year. And then Will Smith's hitting 300. Of course, he's right there at the top of the leaderboard in the National League, having a heck of a year swinging the bat. And he not only is hitting 300 against the Padres, but he's got a 1,020 OPS. Dodgers have 11 doubles, 2 triples, and 12 homers, and have outscored the Padres to this point 49-43. So I thought I'd share those numbers. Really, what it shows you is the Dodgers can win without their big boys doing damage, and the Padres don't seem like they can win when their big boys don't do damage. Tatis and Machado got to show up. This is on those guys. They got to step up and have big weekends. And I would imagine at some point Fernando's going to get knocked in the dirt. Dodgers, they're going to knock him down. They're gonna pitch him high and tight. Whether he gets knocked down or not, he's gonna have to back off the plate. You know the game plan. We know the game plan. They're gonna come high and tight, knock him off the dish, and then throw him breaking balls away. Fastballs go with heaters inside and go with soft stuff away. That's what I'm thinking is going to happen. Okay, let's get to our Padres mailbag from our last program. And I apologize for John Maffey. I don't know what happened, but we'll work on that because I want to have a good segment with him each and every week because there are a lot of high school football fans that tune into my program. All right, Coach's mailbag. What do we got today? Wish we would have won at least one in LA. What are the odds that we can sweep them here in San Diego? I don't know. I guess 50-50. I'm not going to say they can't. I'm not going to say they're going to. I'd say 50-50. Remember, you can't sweep unless you win game one. And I think game one tonight's huge. Darvish has got to give him some length tonight. He's got to pitch better. He pitched great the second, third, and fourth inning. The problem was he gave up 4 runs in the first. And Blake Snell's tough, man. Blake Snell looks good to me. Watching him, it seems like his delivery's much more under control, not falling all over the place. And, he's going to be geared up tonight. Dodgers, what's Dave Roberts have up his sleeve this week? He was pretty quiet last weekend. Of course, his team led all but 1 inning the entire series. Didn't have to do a whole lot. He did do a really good job of mixing and matching his bullpen. I thought he did an outstanding job of handling his pitching staff. Absolutely. All right, what else we got here? Disappointed in Merrill this season. Is he starting to become an injury-prone player? I think it's too early to tell. It's been a tough year. He'll go back to work. I think he's got a good baseball IQ. I think he loves the game of baseball. Sometimes you just have a rough go of it. But I would encourage him not to go head first. You go head first. I saw Alvarez, and I don't know if they actually put him on the IL or going to have season-ending surgery. But that catcher for the Mets, he was another guy that went in head first and hurt a ligament in his thumb. Guys won't learn, man. I told you, never go in head first. All these guys want to go in head first. These organizations are dumb. They let their guys do that. That's dumb. Dumb, 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 dumb. It's that simple. Anybody that goes head first, man, you got to check how smart they are. You're putting yourself in risk of putting yourself on the DL. And when you go on the DL or the IL, I like to call it the DL, but it's the IL now. You're risking hurting your ball club. And what I mean by that, not only are you going to hurt yourself and take yourself out, when you're off the field, you're a man down. You're hurting your ball club by going head first. Go back into a bag. Like the guy's trying to pick you off, go back into the bag head first. But if you're going to a bag, go feet first. Give me a good pop-up slide. Don't give me this garbage of sliding head first. And the oven mitt. My grandson wanted to buy an oven mitt. I looked at my daughter. I go, are you serious? He doesn't need an oven mitt. Learn that. He knows how to slide on his butt. I go, you don't need an oven mitt. Pick your hands up and let's play some baseball. Yeah, I'm not big on the head first slide and never have been and never will be. Nobody can convince me that's the best way to go into a bag. Nobody can ever convince me that. And I wouldn't get into it on the air, but I can tell you off the air, I can give you 38 different reasons why you don't want to go head first opposed to sliding on your right or left hip. And I'd prefer your right hip. That way you've got your ball or your back to the baseball coming from the catcher, either going into second or into third base. That's me. But I'm an old school baseball guy. I like fundamentals. It's all about fundamentals. All right, give me one more here. What else we got? How do you feel about our pitching going into the playoffs? I don't know how I feel about our pitching right now. I kind of like the way Darvish is doing some things, but he's got to be consistent. He's still showing Russ Cortez. I saw some things out of him the other night after he gave up 4 runs and 3 homers in the first, but I got to see it right from the start. Pavetta, got no problem with him. See, you're juggling balls with him right now. You don't know what you're getting from one start to the next. JP Sears did great going against an awful San Francisco Giant lineup. Boy, man, Buster Posey, he better do better. I mean, Bob Melvin's got no chance with those guys. I mean, geez, are you kidding me? He got no chance. No chance at all. Okay, that's going to wrap it up. That's going to wrap it up. And again, I apologize for John Maffey. We'll get it done better next time. Get him up and running. Monday morning when I come on, folks, I hope we're talking about the Padres being in first place and not a couple of games back or God, can you imagine if they got swept? It'd be 4 games back. They're not going to get swept again, are they? God, I would hope not. But hey, you never know. Dodgers can climb on you for 4 or 5 runs in an inning. They're one of those teams. They screw around for 4 or 5 innings, and then all of a sudden they'll just explode on you. So you got to be very, very careful. But hey, I'll be in Monday morning at 9 a.m. We'll recap the whole weekend, and we'll find out what was good, bad, and indifferent. So if you're going to the games this weekend, have a great time. If you're getting out to high school football tonight, have a great time, and we'll reconvene on Monday morning at 9 a.m. Again, please subscribe, please like, please turn on notifications. You can follow me on Facebook at John Kentera and on X at Coach Kentera44. And until Monday morning at 9 a.m., have a great weekend, everyone, and thanks for tuning in to San Diego Sports Talk, the John Kentera Show. Bye-bye.